All right, buckle up, everybody, because we are diving deep into some wild predictions about the future, like the future of everything.
Yeah, that's big.
We've got articles, we've got some social media buzz, even some transcripts from Brennan about this massive shift. And get this, it could be happening as early as 2025.
That's right.
It's that whole AI singularity thing you might have heard about.
Yeah, it's causing quite a stir. And for good reason. We're talking about AI becoming, smarter than humans.
Whoa.
Some folks, like Brennan, they're thinking this could happen as early as next year.
Wow. And Brendan's been working with brands forever on how to craft impactful messages. He's saying this AI shift, this is going to totally change the game when it comes to brand strategy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get this, he's particularly focused on the kind of brands we talk about a lot here. Those plant-based, ethical, eco-friendly companies.
He's been sounding the alarm, saying these brands need to get ready for a world where connecting with people on an emotional level, like really connecting, is going to be more important than ever.
Okay, so before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's break it down a little. Some folks listening might be thinking, Singularity, is that some new streaming service?
Right.
So can you give us a quick, Singularity for Dummies explanation?
Absolutely. Imagine AI that can learn, adapt, and solve problems, but faster and better than any human.
Cool.
That's the singularity in a nutshell. It's not about, robots taking over the world, although
So that's a whole other deep dive.
it's a whole other conversation. But no, the singularity is really about tech advancing so fast that it changes everything about how we live, work, even how we think.
And Brennan's saying brands, especially those mission-driven ones, they need to be ready for this. It feels kind of sci-fi, doesn't it?
Definitely has that sci-fi vibe. But think about it. AI is already changing how we interact with brands. Personalized recommendations, targeted ads, those chatbots. Now imagine all that, but supercharged. Like AI writing messages that perfectly tap into our deepest values and desires.
Whoa.
It's coming.
So in this crazy future, this different world, how do brands even get noticed? I mean, it feels like people are already drowning in messages everywhere they turn.
That's where Brennan's ideas get really interesting. He's saying that in this AI-dominated world, the brands that will win are the ones that figure out how to cut through all the noise and connect with people on a truly human level.
But how do you do that when AI might become like the ultimate master manipulator? If AI can figure out exactly what makes us tick and push our buttons to make us buy stuff, where does that leave actual human connection? I mean, it feels kind of icky.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But Brennan has some pretty interesting thoughts about that. He actually argues that AI, if it's used ethically, can make brands more authentic, not less.
Hold on, how does AI help with authenticity? That seems kind of contradictory, doesn't it?
Right. This is where it gets really interesting. Brennan's proposing a tool he calls the emotional resonance meter. They call it ERM for short. Think of it like an AI-powered focus group on steroids. It can analyze how people emotionally respond to a brand's message, and it goes way beyond just clicks and likes. This thing can pick up on subtle cues in language, facial expressions, even like tiny movements in our eyes.
So it's not reading our minds, but it's getting pretty close, huh?
It's using AI to figure out the why behind people's reactions. Why does one story really grab you and another one just falls flat? Why does this picture make you feel all warm and fuzzy, but that one makes you kind of skeptical?
That's some next-level market research, man. But let's be real, it also sounds a little creepy. Like, are we cool with AI analyzing our every twitch and tear just to figure out how to sell us more stuff?
That's a totally valid concern, and Brennan gets that. He's really clear that this ERM, it's just a tool like any other. It can be used for good or bad, depending on the intentions of the people using it.
So he's not saying brands should become like master manipulators.
No, actually the opposite. He believes that AI, especially tools like this ERM, can help brands move away from all those manipulative marketing tricks and towards building real, genuine connections with people. By understanding how people really feel about their message, not just what they say or click, brands can create stories and experiences that resonate on a deeper, more authentic level.
So instead of using AI to trick people into buying things they don't need, it's about using AI to understand what they truly care about and connecting with them based on those shared values.
Exactly. It's about making sure that what a brand says and what it does are in alignment. And that's crucial for those ethical, sustainable brands we talk about because, let's be honest, consumers are getting smarter. They can sniff out greenwashing from a mile away.
Sure.
They're not falling for it anymore.
Okay, so we've got this AI singularity potentially changing everything. Brands scrambling to figure out how to connect with people in a whole new way. What does this mean for the brands we usually talk about here, those purpose-driven, eco-friendly companies? Does Brennan have any advice for them?
He does. And it might surprise you. Brennan thinks this shift toward emotional connection actually plays to the strengths of these brands.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, think about it. Ethical and sustainable brands, they're already built on values, on purpose, on this desire to make the world a better place. They're not just selling a product, they're selling a better way of living.
Right.
And in a world where AI can pretty much create anything, those values are going to be more valuable than ever.
Yeah, it's like if AI can make the perfect product, the real differentiator is going to be the story behind it, the people who made it, the impact it has on the world.
Exactly. It's those deeper human connections, the real stories that AI can't replicate. And that's where these purpose-driven brands have a real edge.
So, in a way, this whole AI singularity thing could actually level the playing field. Like, the brands that are already focused on doing good are going to be in the best position to win in this new world.
That's exactly what Brennan's arguing. He believes that the brands that really embrace authenticity, transparency, and genuine human connection are going to be the ones that come out on top, even in a world where AI is calling the shots.
This is some seriously mind-bending stuff. AI, singularity, the emotional resonance meter, authenticity being more important than ever. It's clear that brands are facing some huge challenges and opportunities in this crazy, rapidly changing world. But before we get lost in the strategic weeds here, I think we need to zoom out for a minute and look at the bigger picture.
Totally agree. All this talk about AI and brand strategy, it brings up some fundamental questions about what it means to be human in a world that's becoming increasingly shaped by technology.
Yeah, that's deep. All right, Dupe Divers, we're going to take a quick pause here to let all this sink in. When we come back, we'll dig into what Brennan has to say about the human side of all this AI stuff and what it means for us as individuals navigating this different world. Stay tuned.
You know, we've been talking a lot about what brands need to do to get ready for this singularity thing.
Yeah, like all that emotional connection stuff, being authentic, all that.
Right, right. But what I find fascinating is how Brennan connects all this back to us as, as humans.
Yeah, what's it mean for us regular folks? I mean, we're not all brand strategists. AI is already changing our lives in so many ways.
It is. Think about it this way, right? As AI starts taking over more of those, routine tasks, the repetitive stuff, it frees us up. We can focus on things that are, well, uniquely human.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Things like creativity, empathy, critical thinking, building meaningful relationships, having real conversations. Those skills that need emotional intelligence, a deep understanding of, well, of human nature.
So the stuff that AI can't do, at least not yet.
Exactly. And Brennan's point is those skills, those human skills, they're going to be even more valuable in a world run by AI. It's like as AI gets smarter, we need to get more human, if that makes sense.
That's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. So instead of being scared of AI, we should be like embracing it, seeing it as a chance to evolve, to grow our human side.
It's not about being scared or, embracing it blindly. It's about understanding what AI can do, what it can't do, figuring out how we can use it to make us better, to enhance our humanity, not, replace it.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture now, but I'm still kind of stuck on this whole brands being more authentic thing. What does that actually look like, especially for these ethical brands that are trying to do good in the world?
Well, for those brands, it's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk, right? Consumers, especially the ones who are drawn to these purpose-driven brands, they want to see that a company's actions actually match their words.
They want proof, right?
Yeah.
They want to see that you're really committed to making a difference, not just using trendy buzzwords to sell stuff.
Exactly. It's about being transparent, being open and honest about your process, about the challenges you face, even your failures.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about being real.
That's it. Consumers can spot a fake from a mile away. And AI is only going to make them even more discerning.
Right, because AI can analyze all that data, spot patterns, and create some seriously persuasive marketing.
Exactly. So if a brand's actions don't match their words, AI is going to expose them. And in a world where trust is everything, that can be a disaster.
So this whole AI singularity thing, it's like a truth serum for brands.
I like that. Yeah, it forces them to be honest with themselves and with their customers.
Which brings up another question. How do brands actually prove they're being authentic? Is it just about saying the right things, or is there something more to it?
Oh, it's definitely more than just words. It's about making choices that reflect your values, even when it's tough.
Like, give me an example. What kind of choices are we talking about?
Okay, so for an ethical brand, it might mean choosing to source materials from like sustainable suppliers, even if it costs more, or investing in renewable energy, even if it takes longer to see a return.
It's about putting your money where your mouth is, right?
Exactly. It's about showing your commitment through your actions, not just your marketing campaigns.
And Brennan thinks those actions are going to be even more important in this AI-driven world
Absolutely. Consumers are going to be looking for brands that are actually making a difference, not just talking about it.
because those actions, those are the proof. That's real commitment.
And that's something AI can't fake, right? It can crunch numbers, write fancy ads, but it can't replicate that genuine authenticity that comes from actually living your values.
All right, so we talked about emotional intelligence, brands needing to be more authentic, the power of actions speaking louder than words.
And how all of this ties back to the singularity, this different world we keep talking about.
Right, right. But before we wrap up, I want to go back to something you said earlier about, AI freeing us up to focus on our human side. I'm curious to explore that a little more.
Yeah, it's one of the most interesting parts of this whole conversation for sure.
It is. So if AI is handling more of the routine stuff, the boring stuff, what does that mean for us? How do we make the most of that newfound freedom?
I think it starts with recognizing what makes us human in the first place. Our empathy, our creativity, our ability to connect with each other on a deeper level.
The things AI can't do, at least not yet.
Right. And then it's about actually making an effort to cultivate those skills.
Okay, but how do we do that? Is it just about like spending more time on hobbies, being more creative?
It's about being more intentional with how we spend our time and energy, prioritizing things that help us develop our emotional intelligence, our critical thinking skills, our ability to work together and build strong relationships.
Okay, I get that. But it also feels kind of daunting, like we're being asked to redefine what it means to be human in a world that's constantly changing.
It is a lot. But Brennan's ideas, they offer a kind of hope, I think. He believes that AI, if we use it wisely, can actually help us rediscover what makes us human in the first place.
How so?
Well, think about it. By freeing us from the mundane, the repetitive tasks, the things that drain our energy and kill our creativity, AI gives us the space to focus on what truly matters.
Our relationships, our passions,
Yeah,
our purpose.
exactly. It's about using AI as a tool to enhance our humanity, not replace it.
This is really making me think. So in this different world that's being shaped by AI, it's not just brands that need to evolve. It's us too, right?
Right. It's about recognizing our own potential, our own power, and embracing the opportunity to become, well, more fully human.
Wow, this is a lot to process.
Yeah.
We've explored AI's impact on brand strategy, the importance of authenticity, the possibility that AI can help us rediscover what makes us human.
It's been a wild ride.
It has. And I think it's time for us to take another breather and let all of this really sink in. When we come back, we'll wrap things up with some final thoughts on what it all means and how we can navigate this exciting and maybe a little bit scary future. Stick with us.
Okay, deep divers, we're back. I don't know about you, but my head is still spinning from all this stuff about AI, singularity, emotional connection, and like what it all means for the future.
It's a lot, right?
It is. But I think it's so important that we're having this conversation, especially as we're moving into this different world that Brennan keeps talking about.
Yeah, he does paint a pretty compelling picture of like a future where AI could totally change everything, not just how brands do business, but like how we actually experience the world.
Yeah, and for me, one of the most interesting things he talks about is this idea that AI could help us become more human.
Right. We touched on that a bit earlier, but it's kind of a paradox, isn't it? Like, how can technology, especially something as complex and maybe even kind of scary as AI, actually make us more human?
Brendan says it all comes down to how we choose to use it. He sees AI as a tool, something that can free us from all those like mundane tasks, the repetitive stuff, the things that drain our energy and just zap our creativity.
So it's about using AI to do the things we don't want to be doing so we can focus on what makes us, well, human.
Yeah, exactly. Things like building relationships, connecting with people, expressing ourselves creatively, solving problems in new ways, exploring our passions.
The things that give us joy, purpose, connection.
Right. And those are the things that are really going to matter in a world where AI can take care of so much of the other stuff.
It's almost like AI is giving us permission to, I don't know, to be more fully ourselves, to embrace the things that make us unique.
To step into our full potential, to cultivate the skills and qualities that make us valuable, not just as workers, but as human beings.
That's a really cool way to think about it. But I got to be honest, it's also a little scary, right? Like, what if we're not ready for this kind of freedom? What if we get so used to AI doing everything for us that we kind of forget how to do things ourselves or even lose our sense of purpose?
I get that. It's a valid concern, and it's something we need to be really mindful of as we move into this new world. But I think Brennan offers some guidance, you know? He talks about how we need to be intentional about cultivating those uniquely human skills. We need to practice empathy, nurture our creativity, build strong connections with others.
So it's not just about like sitting back and letting AI run the show. It's about taking an active role in shaping our future, both individually and as a society.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where purpose-driven brands can really make a difference. By showing what it looks like to be authentic, to be transparent, to genuinely commit to making a positive impact, they can inspire others to embrace those values.
It's like they're leading by example, showing that it's possible to succeed in this new world without losing your humanity.
Right. At the end of the day, that's what's at stake here. It's not just about which brands are going to win or lose. It's about what kind of world we want to create. Do we want a world where technology serves humanity or the other way around?
That's deep. Wow, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive, haven't we?
Sure.
We talked about the AI singularity, that whole emotional resonance meter thing, the importance of authenticity, and even the idea that AI could help us become more, well, more human.
It's been a wild ride.
It has. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we're not just along for the ride when it comes to this whole AI revolution. We have a choice. We have a responsibility to help shape the future we want.
Yeah, and that starts with understanding the power and the potential of AI, but
Mhm.
also remembering how important it is to hold on to our own humanity.
To find that balance, that sweet spot where technology enhances our lives without taking away from the things that make us human.
Right.
So as we step into this different world, let's not forget about empathy, about creativity, about our ability to connect with each other on a human level.
Yeah.
Let's use AI as a tool to empower ourselves and to create a future that reflects our values.
Yeah, and let's support those brands that are walking the walk, showing that it's possible to be successful while also making the world a better place.
This deep dive has given us all a lot to think about, and we hope you'll keep exploring these ideas. Check out Brennan's work, talk to people about AI and how it's changing our world, and most importantly, start cultivating those uniquely human skills that will help you thrive in this rapidly evolving world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everybody. We'll catch you next time.